Hi, welcome to Manas Shil YouTube channel. Before we start, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Let's start the video. If you haven't watched the previous video, I'll link it in the description box, or you can click here. Tensura Volume 19 Chapter 4 The Gathering of the Giants. Inheriting Will. Thus, Moss also won. And the last one left was Hinata, who was casually entrusted with the sword by Granbell. Master, this is. You can have it. It is no longer of any use to me. With these words, Granbell gave the truth to Hinata. The Granbell here was nothing more than a fictional entity with an actual body. In fact, the sword he had just given to Hinata had also been recreated, held in his hand. The ability to summon past champions in the form of entities of the same nature as digital life forms. This was the essence of the ultimate skill king of heroes that Masayuki had awakened. Minutes and Calgrio had regained their power because of the influence of this skill. And now, this time, Masayuki's anger had unknowingly triggered the hero's beacon to become more powerful. Rudra, the oldest and strongest of the champions, was called upon. The timing was also good. Perhaps it was a coincidence, or perhaps it was an inevitability due to Masayuki's good fortune. When Michael's parallel existence was defeated by Chloe, the information of the physical body that had served as a substitute was on its way back to the heavens. As a result, all of them were called by Masayuki to be integrated. Now, Masayuki's ego as Rudra had become more apparent. And Rudra was able to use Velgrin's powers as his own. Using Velgrin's parallel existence as a basis, Rudra did the insane thing of giving temporary bodies to the champions summoned by Hero's Beacon. Granbell's new mythical grade longsword was also created by borrowing Velgrin's power. You used my power again, didn't you? Is that bad? No, not at all. Everything I have is yours, Rudra. It was a show of their lovey-dovey coupleness, but what they were doing was completely absurd. Masayuki's King of Heroes was an insane power that was the ultimate balance breaker. It was no wonder that Feldway's face twitched as he confronted him. Be thankful. This is a divine sword given to me by my master over there, Rudra Nazca. It can be compared with other dull swords. And since you're going to inherit it, you'll have to prove your merit. Granbell commanded Hinata. My merit, you say? I will see if you're worthy of holding this sword inherited by a hero. Granbell nodded magnanimously to the confused Hinata. Now that Granbell had said that much, there was no way for Hinata to back down. In the first place, she was a self-proclaimed defender of humanity, and she was not the kind of person who would hesitate at this point. Then rest assured. The current me will not lose even to my master. You sure are talking big, when you're not even at the level of these old bones. Listen, and do not forget. It is the strength of our emotions that makes us who we are. Victory is not what's important. It is the better outcome that matters. The words of Granbell, who acted more for the future of humanity than for his own victory, were heavy. Hinata chewed them over. Yes, I understand. Just as she had entrusted her hope to Chloe, Granbell had entrusted his beliefs to Hinata. Hinata accepted it and looked forward. In her line of sight, she saw the last of the evil dragon spawns. Hinata was surprised as she tried to focus her consciousness. Her consciousness was changing more smoothly than usual, and the more she looked, the more the surrounding situation filled her brain. Despite this, the information was organized, and she was able to grasp the movements of evil dragon spawn, as if she were holding it in her hand. The sword and the will that had been entrusted to her, those were what brought about the change in Hinata. Truth had recognized Hinata as its master, and had unleashed her full power. As a result, the value of Hinata's existence was greatly increased. Furthermore, Granbell's words had washed away Hinata's worries. It's a pity that you have yet to become a hero, that's what Granbell had said. Paradoxically, it was a declaration that Hinata could become a hero. And that is the case, I must live up to his expectations. The master, who was stricter than anyone else, had acknowledged Hinata. Her mood was uplifted. I'll finish you in an instant. She said as such, bidding a final farewell to the evil dragon spawn. True slash. She didn't even let her opponent realize that it had been slashed. Countless slash marks appeared on the evil dragon spawn's body, and at that moment, its gaze crossed with Hinata's. Help. The evil dragon spawn was about to say something, but its words failed to come out. Before it could even finish, its body disintegrated into tiny pieces. Perhaps the remnants of Reiner's consciousness had asked Hinata for help, but if he had lost his human essence at this stage, there was no way to save him. This was Reiner's own fault, but have a good night. Sweet dreams. Hinata threw in a few words of comfort. There were many reasons why she did not like Reiner, and she didn't think she could forgive him for what he had done, but she hoped at the least that he would be at peace when he died. In this way, Hinata's victory was confirmed, and evil dragon spawns were annihilated. The victorious Hinata was greeted by Granbell with a round of applause. Well done. No, it was because my master lent me his sword. Granbell stopped Hinata from giving truth back to him. It is yours now. I am already dead. The me here is nothing more than a fake, a perfect reproduction created from memories. It didn't look like it, but Hinata knew it was true. The boy who inherited my master's soul has created an extraordinary power. With that said, Granbell smiled. Hinata agreed. This was not a resurrection from the dead, but it was, if anything, an even more terrifying power. The ability to recreate the champions of the past in their prime. Even if the power was limited to those who had a relationship with Masayuki, it would still be an absurd story. Moreover, there was a strong possibility that he would be able to call upon even those who had no connection to him. At the very least, Granbell and Masayuki were not acquainted with each other. Even so, he was able to summon them because hero Rudra, who was said to be a past life of Masayuki, had been Granbell's mentor. Even Hinata had only just heard of this story, and Masayuki should have known nothing about it. To begin with, it was unclear as to how many people could be summoned at the same time, and she had to admit that it was an unfathomable ability. It was only natural that Granbell, who stood here for Masayuki's power, had no regrets about the sword he was leaving behind in this world. Even so, Hinata was not sure that she was worthy to hold it. I understand that master is an illusion, but that's not the point. In the end, I couldn't become a hero. My qualifications were passed on to Chloe, and unfortunately, I was never meant to awaken. The hero's egg that Hinata carried had been passed on to Chloe to give birth to the strongest hero. Therefore, the current Hinata would never awaken and could not live up to Granbell's expectations. Knowing this, Hinata showed off her current self to Granbell. Through this, one could see Hinata's strong will, that she does not mind being disappointed. She was declaring to Granbell that she had nothing to be ashamed of. Granbell laughed at such a Hinata. Do you really think so? Eh? It was my master Rudra's will that I be called, but I suppose it was inevitable. I remembered from the promised land that I was unable to entrust you with my will either. Maria was very angry with me. This conversation itself was an illusion told by a fake. And yet, it was still so concrete and vivid. Then, Hinata realized the meaning of Granbell's words. This power is. Granbell's qualification as a hero, the Holy Spirit of Light that guided those to victory, had been handed over to Hinata along with truth. This is where my role ends. Hinata, I'll leave rest is up to you. Granbell spoke, smiling with a freshness that had never been shown in his lifetime. Hinata vowed by that smile. Rest assured, master. I will do my best. Then, good. Granbell said and gave a small smile. Then he turned his back on Hinata, as if his business was done. Damrata stood alongside Granbell as he walked toward Masayuki. Gran, are you finished satisfying your regrets? Yes. You also seem to have complained to Rudra. He didn't listen to me, as usual. That's just like him. Yeah, definitely. The two of them appeared to be on good terms with each other. It made one think that this was the way things were in the ancient past, the way things should have been. No, it was the truth. Granbell had studied under Rudra and parted company to unite the West. After the West was united, he was scheduled to return to Rudra's service. Granbell's struggle with the monsters of power who dominated many nations had exhausted him greatly. The empire that he had set up as a virtual enemy eventually became a real threat to Granbell. And so, trapped in his own madness, he and his friend Damrata became nothing more than superficial friends who played tricks on each other, until today. Those petty ties were no longer relevant. Just like in the old days, they were simply laughing and talking to each other. Without a doubt, this was not something a mere illusion could do. Rudra was waiting for them. Hey, you guys aren't going to speak trash right in front of me, are you? You'd better prepare yourselves. We were complimenting you. Yes, that's right. We can't do anything without you. You're making me sick. Well, that's fine then. It's my turn now, so get some rest until I call you back. Rudra laughed. Granbell and Damrata laughed back, and then disappeared. They left, satisfied that their part in the story was over. Rudra, who was entrusted with the rest, accepted their trust without hesitation. Rudra, are you okay? Rudra smiled at Valgren's concern, hugged her around the waist, and even kissed her lightly. I don't think this is the time. Phew, I'll be gone once this is over. I just got my reward first. Valgren stared at Rudra in ecstasy. She adored the naive Masayuki for his innocence, but Rudra, the man she had once loved, was exceptional. Someday, Masayuki would become Rudra. Valgrind had always believed that, but she never thought that her dream would come true. It may seem contradictory, but those were her true feelings. Because she could love any Rudra, the original was the best. Masayuki, who recreated such a Rudra, had become a supreme being for Valgrind. The word love was no longer enough. I love Masayuki. All of you, Rudra. I know. So those words shouldn't be said to me, but to Masayuki himself. But, that kid, he's a bit shy. I'm sure he's happy on the inside. I'm the one who said it, so I'm sure of it. Yes, those words were also true. The current Rudra was not an illusion, but Masayuki himself with Rudra's memories. Rudra then turned to Feldway, as if to hide his embarrassment. Now then, sorry to keep you waiting, Feldway. Apparently, you're the real deal. Do you intend to defy the laws of this world, and say that you've transcended death? No. I'm still dead, and there's no coming back to life. However, I can hit a man from the other side, if he makes the woman I love cry. Don't be silly. I'm serious though. Well, I haven't gone to the other side yet. Rudra's statement, though said in a joking manner, was quite true. Because he was dwelling within Masayuki like this, as long as Michael's body was still incarnated, not all of his memories would be recreated. As soon as the effects of Masayuki's power expired, Rudra's personality would disappear. However, his memories and experiences would remain in Masayuki's heart. This meant that Rudra could continue to manifest himself. Rudra was not so sincere as to tell him this, but he had no intention to hide it. Now then. Muttering to himself, Rudra glanced at Vega. Then, turning to Tensura and Hinata, he gave them an order with an expectant look. Hey, you guys. I'll leave that small fry to you. Naturally, the two rebelled. So high and mighty. Agreed. However, it was in their best interest to follow Rudra's lead, and they were not so stupid as to not understand that. That's why it felt even worse, but in this case, they chose to follow him quietly. Let us go with a united front, Hinata Dono. You're right, Tensura-san. With you as a partner, I can rest assured. Fufufu, it is the same for me. And so, an impromptu duo was formed to take on Vega. Vega versus Tensura and Hinata. And Feldway versus Rudra. The final battle in the royal capital had begun. Two beautiful women stood in front of Vega. Tensura was smiling bewitchingly, while Hinata was smiling coldly. I'm going to finish him off, so would you mind keeping him occupied for a while? Yes, of course. He seems to be difficult to kill with a sword, and widespread annihilation magic cannot be used in royal capital, so let's share the work. As smart people, it was easy for them to come to an agreement. Tensura stepped back, and began to search for the range of influence of the power that Vega had activated. That tended to be neglected while fighting, but this time, she activated her detection spell carefully in order to kill him seriously. Hinata stood in front of Vega. Oh hey, what happened to my buddy Damrata and the other bastard? They have gone back. I see. They look like they were going to do some damage, but they're not my enemy. Neither are you guys. You got carried away, just because you beat my evil dragon spawns, but let me give you a reality, Chuck. Vega boasted to Hinata. As a former colleague, Damrata had felt that Vega was quite capable. However, he had thought that the current Vega was no match for him, and did not consider him a threat. Even so, he felt that it would be annoying to be swarmed by such a strong class of people, so Hinata's words, that Damrata had gone back honestly made him happy. Well, it was just that it was less troublesome. Well, what do you think? Don't underestimate me, or you'll regret it. Even Hinata could see that Vega was a very powerful opponent. Normally, Hinata would try to instigate things from the start, but she understood that it would be ridiculous for her to say such a thing now. The right thing to do was to win and show her strength. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy it.